welcome back to EDH Deck Building. I am your host, Demo, and I am making a very special video here, a very different video for sure. I was actually pulling a deck apart to put new cards in, and I thought, you know what? I've had some requests from my patrons to sort of do this. They've asked me, how do I go about finding room for cards on my decks and all of that kind of stuff. And so I was setting up a video to do it for my Patreon. And then I thought, you know what? I've had a lot of requests from my viewers as well to just, whenever I say I'm taking these cards out of my decks, I've done a couple of those videos, cards I put in, cards I take out. How do I go about it? So that's what I'm going to do. At least I'm going to attempt to do. I've never done a video like this before. I got my deck right here. It is my Benny Brax deck. And I guess I should explain a little for anyone who's up on my channel and my own personal decks. My Benny Brax deck changed once, and then now it's changing again. The theme I went with before, I'll just briefly go over this so you guys know what's going on. The theme I went with before, the theme I changed to, which I am now changing again, is, I had this theme where it was an ETB theme, and I relied a lot on, basically, I wanted to build around a few cards that worked with the ETB theme, like Seance and Preston the Vanisher, which both create tokens. So creating tokens and also working with the ETB theme, there being an overlap there. And there's a lot of creatures that ETB and create tokens. So that's the theme I had gone with. And I didn't entirely love it, mostly because there was some gaps in the play where if I had, so for example, if I had my Preston out and I didn't really have any blinking, then he'd just sit there and do nothing. So it didn't really work. Or if I had my Seance and I didn't have a lot of creatures in my graveyard, right? My Seance, I wouldn't even play it. I'd just sit in my hand. I was running into a lot of situations like that. It was a neat idea, but it just didn't play out super well. So I am changing my Benny Brax deck once again, because I think it's a fantastic commander. And what I sort of realized about that commander is what you want. I mean, this is sort of what I originally did, is more than anything, you want to be creating a token on everyone's turn so that you can draw a card on everyone's turn, right? And what lends itself to that strategy? What strategy lends itself to I'm doing stuff on all my opponent's turns? The control strategy, right? And as I've said in many videos recently, white is so good now at the control. Just a mono white deck, in my opinion, is so good at the control theme. And you'll see with the cards I have here, with, of course, the removal. That's the obvious one. Also the protecting your own stuff, which is part of the control theme, right? Just it makes your life a heck of a lot easier. If you think about a Talron deck, what's that doing a lot? Oh, someone wants to cast a board wipe? Good luck with that, right? I'll counter it so that I keep my team of my Talron and my Drakes around as well. So that is very easy to do in white as well. And white, in fact, does have a couple of counter spells even. So that's the theme I decided to go with here. And I've moved, I would say, about 80% of the deck. I've switched out a few cards. I got the final, I would say, 8 cards that I got to put in here. And so, again, I'm just doing it on camera so that you guys see exactly how I go about it. So let's take a look. All right, here we are. I have switched to my sort of gaming setup, as you could probably tell. This is how I play Magic with my patrons on my spell table. And I got my deck here. And I've even turned off the light in my room, and I'm just using my video light so I can cut down on the glare. And I'm totally doing this on the fly. No preparation whatsoever. I'm just doing this like I normally would. So, got my lands here. All right. Nothing really to look at there because nothing there is changing. And what I have, of course, here's my commander for anyone who's not familiar, right? Benny Brax, beginning of your end step. If you created a token this turn, draw a card. So I've got this laid out in a particular order. Again, I'm leaning towards a control-y theme. This, as you can probably tell by looking at it, these cards here I got Galadriel's Dismissal at the top here, which I just talked about in my cards I missed, although I didn't really miss it. But that's going right in here, right? This is my I protect my team sort of column. And the Pandorica I also have. I think really neat card. I just want to try it out. see if it works in the deck. I'm not sure if it will, but I think it's a pretty neat card, and I'd like to try it out. I think it's a neat fit in a control theme, so I'd like to give it a shot here. This is my essentially removal, which of course is all instant speed. Even got Lapse of Certainty, a counterspell. I guess Warping Whale is probably supposed to be over because this is also a counterspell. This actually works doubly well because it creates a token if I need to do that. So there's all my removal, and I got it all. I even got Solitude in this deck, so this is more. And I've had a few discussions about taking out swords, and of course, a lot of people think I'm absolutely crazy for doing so. Um, it depends. In this deck, obviously, I'm not because I'm in a very control-y theme. But this is a lot of spot removal right here, right? I got Solitude, Get Lost, Path to Exile, Swords, Heliod's Intervention. Like, I'm going deep. Even Angelic Ascension, which is a card that most people don't play at all, but it creates a token. And in fact, it creates a 4/4 Flying Angel. And I have to figure out how I'm going to close out the game here, right? I'm just going to, like I've done with every iteration of this deck, close out the game by attacking with my creatures and turning a little 1/1 token that I have made. Like, obviously I can use that on my opponents as it was intended, but if I got a little 1/1 token lying around and I'm on my opponent's turn, and there's some point where, and of course when you're playing this deck, you got to be careful you don't go to the end step when you create the token, right? Because your commander's trigger is on the end step. So when they're about to go out of their second main phase, I'm like, okay, hold on there, right? That's, again, how I play the deck always. I'm like, okay, well, before you go to the end step, I'm going to Angelic Ascension my own 1/1 token, get the card draw off my commander because I've created a token, and also, because if I use it on my opponent, I don't get the card draw, right? Because they're creating the token. That's also important to note. But I get a 4/4 Angel. I've now turned my 1/1 token into a 4/4 Angel, and then on top of that, I get the card draw. So that, got lots of removal in the deck. So that, and again, Fateful Absence, same thing. A card that I just talked about, I'm taking out of decks. Here I'm going to keep it because I can use it on myself to get a card draw if I need to. And there's actually a lot of interactions with, I'm getting a card draw anyway off of my commander. So it's sort of a 1-for-1 scenario. And then of course, Generous Gift and Stroke of Midnight. Here is my board wipes. And I got Sunblast Angel in here. It's not really a board wipe. It fits the control theme because, it sort of does. This is probably, I got the really cool, this is like the Secret Lair one. It's just a really neat looking card, and I wanted to put in a deck. It's probably on the chopping block, as is Ravnica at War, which, I just talked about cards I'm taking out of my decks. I took it out of my Patron of the Kitsune deck, and I will likely be taking out of this one as well. So I'll leave those two there because those are likely coming out. This is Ramp. The one weird standout here is probably McKindy Stampede, which is not Ramp really. It is a land. It doesn't really fit in any other category. It's just an MDFC land, and so I stuck it there. These are all my repeatable token makers. And of course, one of the reasons why I changed this deck was because I got a ton of fantastic cards I just got the other day. Token makers in Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which I thought were great fits here. So these are all my repeatable token makers. Here's another one from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which could be a one-shot, but if I have Devotion, obviously I'm not going to have the black, but the white. Here's another one. So I got 4 repeatable token makers, really, really great ones from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which is one of the reasons I changed the deck. I have Chivalric Alliance here, which is also card draw. There is some overlap. And then I just got a bunch that I just think fit neat and fit really well in the deck, and also fit the control-y theme. Hoofprints of the Stag, right? Halo Fountain, which obviously can be a win con. Sacred Mesa is a great one. It's it's nice to have the ones like Sacred Mesa that I can obviously just crank out a token on everyone's turn. This just becomes 2 mana draw card in this deck. Do I care that I have to sacrifice a Pegasus? Not really, right? So it's likely, though, this column here, I will be taking out a couple of cards. Again, the ones towards the bottom are the ones that I probably more would consider taking out. These are all one-shot token makers. Again, probably these two columns are the ones that are mostly on the chopping block. Um, and then this tiny little column right here, if you could see it way over here, Idol of Oblivion into Cassia's Welcome is my card draw. That's right. Two cards. That is it. Because, of course, my commander's drawing me cards so easily. And, I say all the time, I've had lots of people ask me for deck building guides and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't like deck building guides. Telling someone they have to put X amount of removal or X amount of card draw in their deck makes no sense to me. My commander draws cards really, really well, so I'm going to have. So if the whatever the standard is for drawing cards, that doesn't apply here, right? And of course, it doesn't apply to a lot of commanders that draw cards, which of course a whole lot of commanders nowadays are drawing cards. So here's what's going in. These are the cards I just got today. Luminarch Ascension is of course a slam dunk. It's a phenomenal card. It's funny enough, I've never had this in a deck before. Luminarch Ascension. It was one of those cards that was played to death back in the day, and for that reason, I sort of was turned off of it. But it fits so perfectly in a control theme, and of course, it's making tokens. So this is like a finisher in this deck. I mean, it's a finisher in any deck it usually goes in, but it's a great fit here. I put these in order of I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 cards here. I probably will not be putting them all in. We'll see. This is definitely going in. Pegasus Refuge is also definitely going in. Again, it's just a really neat fit with the control theme. And also, it's discard a card, which with my commander, right? Again, they just replace each other because I'm drawing and discarding, right? Chivalric Alliance works the same way, where I pay 2 and discard a card to create a night token. So the card I just discard, it essentially is looting, but I also get a token, right? So 2 mana loot is essentially what this card says, but I also get a 1/1 flying Pegasus, which is, not super scary, but it is going to help me close out the game. Again, I would liken this deck to a Talron deck. That's where I'm going with it. It's going to be very similar to a Talron deck where I just sit back, I do the control-y thing, and I just crank out those tokens, right? Again, lots of people have played against a Talron deck. 2/2 flying drakes aren't super scary, but when you get a bunch of them, they are. This is, again, seems like a weird fit in this deck. Control-y theme, food tokens, what? I just saw this card and I was like, okay, chapter 1, put a +1 counter on up to 1 target creature, create a food token. Chapter 2, draw a card, create a food token. Chapter 3, create a 1/1 white halfling creature token for each food you control. So each chapter is creating a token. It just seems like a great fit in a Benny Brax deck. It kind of fits the control-y theme a little bit. I like stuff in this deck that I can just slap down, and I don't, again, I don't have to be using all my mana to create tokens. It just does it all on its own. So on my turn, when I play this, I guaranteed get my card draw off my commander, and for the next 2 turns, I guaranteed get my card draw off my commander. So I don't have to worry about getting the trigger on my turn. All I have to do is worry about other turns. This guy's pretty great. Again, particularly, like, this is a card I probably should have had in here before, but works particularly good in the control theme. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, you populate. So again, on my turn, I mean, unless I don't have a creature token in play, which seems unlikely, I'm guaranteed going to get the trigger that I need for my commander. And whenever a creature token enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Nesting Devhawk. So this guy, again, it's a good creature to have in a control theme. So on everyone's turn, I'm creating a token. Maybe not a creature token, but likely a creature token. And this guy just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I got this big nasty flyer in play. So that guy I really want to put in the deck for sure. Late to dinner, I thought recursion spell also creates a token. So my commander dies, let's say on someone else's turn. Someone casts a board wipe and I don't have any of my protection in play. I just let him go to the graveyard on my turn. I return him to play, create a food token, and I get the card draw. Pretty good value. Inquisitive Puppet. Don't ask me why. I just, something about this card I just really like. The flavor's fantastic. Obviously, it's Pinocchio, right? He's a artifact creature, right? He's a mechanical kid, and then he wants to become a real boy, and that's what this ability is. This actually is a pretty good fit, though, right? He comes into the play. I get to scry 1. He's a okay blocker, not great, but he is an okay blocker. Again, if you think in the control-y theme, It's actually not bad. And this is a free way to instant speed create a token, right? There's not a lot of things that I can actually do that, right? I can exile this guy at any time to create a 1/1 token. So on any one's turn where I want to get that card draw, instant speed, doesn't require any mana, makes me a token. So it's actually not like I'm not going to take out a real bomb in this deck to put this guy in, but I wouldn't mind finding room for him. This one is obviously fantastic in this deck. Again, it's going to guarantee I get my card draw. I just, again, cast a removal spell on a guy's turn, right? Whenever you cast a spell, populate. So I cast some removal spell on one of my opponent's turns, populate a token, get my card draw, right? I'm constantly refilling my hand. You know, if you think about the control-y theme, and again, that's why Benny Brax works great there, is because he's constantly refilling your hand on everyone's turn. So anytime I use a removal spell, counter spell, whatever on someone's turn, I'm then going to refill my, likely, if everything is done correctly, with this in play, I can refill my hand. Like that's when I start to really take over the game. It's 6 mana, but this definitely can be a slap it down later in the game and sort of take over. This one is not too sure. It was a better fit when I was in the blinking theme because it does a blink on the adventure side, exile a creature, and then return to the battlefield. It still can work here because I do have a fair amount of ETB creatures that create tokens. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, you create a 1/1 Pegasus. So that's where it's like, okay, that is like that nice free token making. However, it's at the beginning of your end step. So yeah, it's like, okay, that doesn't work with my commander. Funny enough, it's one of the reasons why the other theme didn't work great. I had Teleportation Circle and Conjurer's Closet in my other theme. Both of those blink on the end step. So any creature I blinked that created a token, like my, Resolute Reinforcements, it didn't work with my commander because I'm already on my end step. So it actually doesn't work great. Yeah, this card is likely not going in the deck. It's, in fact, I'm going to set it aside. It's not going to go in the deck. It doesn't work super well. I actually was considering a Pegasus theme here. I was going to go real janky, but yeah, this is not going in the deck. I'm going to set it aside. So these are the ones I would like to put in the deck. So that means I got to take cards out. And again, this is the order. Luminarch Ascension's going in. So let's take out Ravnica War. I already know I'm taking that out. This goes in the repeatable token maker column, which of course is going to keep getting bigger. I think I'm also going to take out Sunblast Angel. I don't really think I need that. That leaves me with only 2 board wipes, which I don't love. Both of them are fantastic, obviously, because by invitation only works really well in a go wide strategy where I got a bunch of tokens in play. I can sacrifice 4 of them. Everyone else has to sack their whole team because they don't have a lot of creatures. And obviously, Austere Command works great in this theme. Again, it works great in every theme because you get to choose the modes. It's rare that Austere Command is not going to be a great fit. Yes, I do not have Farewell in this deck. I don't know. I might. 2's not a lot. I got a ton of spot removal, as you can see. So I don't know. I might put in another board wipe, especially because I have so much. I can Galadriel's Dismissal, Teferi's Protection. I can do that stuff in response to my own board wipe. So it can be a massive advantage for me. We shall see. I'm going to leave it like that for now, though. Again, because I'm in such a control-y theme here, I might not need that many board wipes, but we'll see. What else am I going to take out? Now it's getting a little more difficult. I'm likely, like, this pile's enormous here. I like all this. I like this. I like that guy for sure. I definitely want to give him a try at least. I really like Currency Converter here. This, again, feels like a weird fit. Whenever you discard a card, you may exile that card from your graveyard, right? Like, I'm not in a discard theme. But again, there is a couple of cards like Pegasus Refuge and Chivalric Alliance that this works phenomenally with, but also it loots itself. So also I do have a couple of cards here that are giving me the draw trigger thing as well. What this becomes, though, is, assuming I don't have that first part. If I do have that first part, okay, well, now I can just tap it and create a token. This has 2 options for creating tokens, right? I can create a treasure token or I can create a rogue token. So either or. If I need mana, I create the treasure token. If I need more. I want to more go wide more because I'm trying to close out the game. I create the rogue token, and of course, I'm creating tokens with both of those, so I get a card draw for both of those. They're both great. Worst case scenario here is I just loot with this, right? I think it's a pretty good fit here. I'd like to really give it a try. So I'm working my way down here. Spirit Bonds is definitely a card that I love here because this is just pay one white mana, draw a card. Essentially, whenever I cast, if I cast my commander, like one thing I really like is when I cast my commander to immediately get the card draw off of it. So if I have Spirit Bonds in play, I can convoke my commander, save a mana so that I can use it for Spirit Bonds, and then I get the card draw. Also, again, sacking those spirits to make my stuff indestructible is pretty nice as well. So, Brimaz, I just threw in here because it's a great token maker. Can make tokens on my turn and on my opponent's turn. And anyone who's ever watched like Legacy or anything knows that that card again works really nicely in a control-y theme. Halo Fountain is definitely staying. Sacred Mess is definitely staying. Oh boy, I think Golden Guardian is on the chopping block first. Because, yeah, I think Golden Guardian, like both Golden Guardian and Legion's Landing are both, I kind of just chucked them in here because they have the possibility, of course, on the flip side to make tokens repeatedly, which is nice. But it's iffy that I can actually get them going. Maybe. I mean, Legion's Landing less so. I'm definitely going to put I'll put this one over here. Legion's Landing. Yeah, like this one is probably attack with three or more creatures isn't super hard, and then I flip it over and I can pay 3 to create a vampire token. That's not great. I'm gonna put Nesting Dovehawk instead. Again, repeatable. Um, oh boy, 3 spots left. What shall I take out? I'm probably gonna take out some of these one shots. I really like Angelic Favor here. Again, it's a funny old card. It's good in a control theme. Funny enough, it's a card I originally put in here because it can create that token on my opponent's turn, which gets me the card draw. It's nice in the control theme. Just throws out this great blocker, surprise, and it's free, right? If I control a planes, tap an untapped creature I control, just tap my commander or something, right? So I actually like it here. Plus, it's a funny fit. Timeless Dragon I like here because it has plane cycling, so it sort of fits into the ramp a little bit. It's not actually ramp, but of course it'll get me a land. I like to see that in my opening hand, and then I can eternalize it later, which creates a token, gets me the card draw, and a 4/4 flying dragon ain't bad, again, to help close out the game. I like Resolute Reinforcements, even though it's just a 1/1. The flash I like. Definitely, though, he's probably, of all of the one shots, like Grand Crescendo, again, that's a one shot. It's going to create a bunch of tokens all at once. That's what I mean by one shot. It's just create tokens once and then it goes away. But of course, this makes my team indestructible, so it also fits in this category. I just left it over here. That's definitely staying. Anything that fits in 2 categories is definitely going to stay. I like Tango Executioner. Again, creates a token, but also removal. So again, fits in 2 categories. Rosy Cotton creates the token and draws me the card, obviously. But then every time I create a token, I put a counter on a creature. So definitely got to keep that. I like Execrator of Sin. Comes into play, creates me the token. Whew, and then at the beginning of upkeep, 4 more card types in graveyard, transform it. I wonder, I think I've only actually transformed this guy once. Because again, once he flips over, I can start sacrificing my 1/1 tokens or my whatever tokens to make 3/2s. But I think that guy's probably on the chopping block as well. I thought it was a neat fit here, but flipping it over is definitely not a guarantee. Definitely not. And also, the backside is just okay. It's actually not as good as I think I Canoptech Scarab Swarm. Need graveyard hate? This is graveyard hate. And it also makes tokens, right? Pick the card that fits the theme of what you're doing. All right. I think these 2 guys are on the chopping block. And maybe... Okay, here we go. I'm going to take out this. I really like Late to Dinner here. I don't know why. Just it's a really neat fit because it's, again, I like the idea of someone cast a board wipe. I just let my commander go to the graveyard. My turn, I bring it back. Avoid commander tax, and also I get a card draw off of it. So that's going in the deck. I guess that will go here. All right. I'm swapping out Resolute Reinforcements for Inquisitive Puppet. Because again, if you look at these two cards, like let's evaluate these two cards here, right? This guy costs 1 mana. This guy costs 2 mana. So advantage here. I mean, it's a 1/1 creature that gives me a 1/1 creature. Okay, but this also gives me a 1/1 creature, so that cancels out. I get a scry 1 off of this, which is better. This one I can flash out, but this one I can again create the token at any time, which is free. Here I got to pay 2 mana for the token creation that I want, right? So ultimately, I think Inquisitive Puppet is just a better fit here, to be quite honest. So there you go. Resolute Reinforcements, you are out. Again, that worked better in the ETB theme because it has an ETB create a token. So that was one of the first cards I put in here. And the flash also works nicely as well because I can get the token on someone else's turn. But yeah, I feel pretty good about that switch. All right, Song of the World Soul is the last to go in here. And I'm wondering, like, I got a lot of token making here. Do I have more than I need? Again, Cemetery Protector, I just like. It's got the flash. It's also Graveyard Hate, right? It's just hitting on so many different things. I'm leaving Seance in because I just love this card. And again, in the control-y theme, I can just wait and wait and wait until my graveyard fills up and then play it later in the game. And why Seance, like why I originally went with the Seance strategy was because it does it at the beginning of each upkeep. If you've never seen this card in action, at the beginning of each upkeep, I am creating a token, right? So it works with the ETB theme really well because the token you're creating doesn't do anything. It doesn't attack. So I can bring my, Inquisitive Pup. Well, that's probably going to be exiled, but I can bring my, I don't know, Timeless Dragon back, whatever, right? Any creature back. I get the trigger for my commander because I'm creating a token. And then also, if it's my Stoic Farmer, I get a land. If it's my Sad Robot, I get a land, right? If it's my, I guess if it was my Resolute Reinforcements, I'd get a token. But I don't need a token, right? I don't need to create a token because I'm already creating a token with the Seance. So basically, this card is just draw a card at the beginning on everyone's turn. That's what Seance becomes in this deck after my graveyard's full. I also have Dollhouse of Horrors, though, which I think I'm going to take out because this is activate only as a sorcery, so I can only do it on my turn. Again, I was doing more of that theme, and I just realized, when I was talking about Seance, I just realized, oh yeah, I was doing Dollhouse of Horrors for the same reason. It creates a token. So this gives me the trigger I want on my turn, but Seance gives me the trigger possibly on everyone's turn. So yes, Dollhouse of Horrors, you're coming out. I already have that card in like 2 other decks. Song of the World Soul is going in. And there it is. There you have it. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to show of this process, but now what I would do, right? Again, I'm putting it in those stacks to see how much I have of each. Again, I don't love that I only have 2 board wipes, but I will play test the deck. And if I am not happy with, if I'm getting run over, I might have to throw a farewell or something in here. Obviously, the options are endless for as far as that goes. So what I do next, and again, because these are in their certain categories, it should make everything nicely, divided, right? As far as what each card is doing, I'm going to put them on mana value now, right? Because that's how else I want to see. That's a 2. You got to be careful with sometimes when you have X's. Like if I'm putting a Astral Cornucopia in my deck, that's technically a 0, but it's really not, right? You're not going to cast your Astral Cornucopia for 0. You're going to cast it for 3. So it should probably go in the 3 slot. Same with Everflowing Chalice, should go in a 2 slot because you're going to be casting it for 2 mana value. You're never going to cast it for 0. I don't think you are anyway. I mean, I guess if you're playing a charge counter deck, I guess it's a possibility. I likely, like Timeless Dragon, is almost guaranteed getting plane cycled. So I could put this in a 2 slot, but we'll leave it there for now. Right? Again, that's stuff you might not think to have. This guy's almost guaranteed to cast for free, but I'll put it in the 4 slot for now. I mean, the chances I don't have a creature to tap is pretty slim. 6s go here. right? And this is how, again, I would typically do this if you've watched any of my Deck Doctor videos on Xmage. But now I can do it like this to see where, oh boy, I got a lot of fours, where everything lines up, right? As far as my mana value, I should be okay. I mean, if, as far as I know, like I was good before, and I added a bunch of cards that are different mana values. Again, I made the Deck Doctor video I did. I think I said I almost never have more than one card above 6. So I got one. We'll see where I am here. I think that's the only one. And I got a lot of 4s. I don't know if I love that, but how many 4s did I add? I mean, I put the Thousand Moon Smithy in. I put the Pegasus Refuge in, and the Nesting Dove Hawk, yeah, and the Late to Dinner. Yeah, that's right. I put a lot of 4s in. Okay, I'm not loving that, but again, this is a land, but I am going to throw it in the 5 slot for now. 3s and 2s are always the most for me. Like I say all the time, although got a lot of 4s here. I don't love Stroke of Midnight. Let's do that. All right. Excise the Imperfect. All my removal is it's getting a little bit stacked up here because, of course, all my removal is in this area, you know, but that's okay. Again, Solitude probably is going to get cast for free, but that's fine. Yeah, I think we're okay here. So that's how it's going to look. Again, it's not exact, but you get a pretty good look. Looks like my 2s are the most, and then I got my 3s and my 4s. So yeah, that's okay. I'm pretty good with that. There you go. There's my lands. And then I just shuffle it all together, right? Or put it all together so that everything works out the way I like, and I'm pretty happy with that. That is the finished product essentially. So I will play test it from there. You know, again, do I have enough card draw? I think I definitely do because my commander draws cards, but as you saw, I only had 2 cards, I guess 3 cards, that were drawing me cards outside of my commander, which is not a lot, but because my commander draws me cards so well, I think it's enough. And do I have enough removal? That I definitely have enough. Do I have enough ramp? Definitely, I think I have enough. The only thing that I'm a little concerned about is do I have enough board wipes, which we will find out through playtesting. So there you go. Putting my deck together the way I normally, that's literally the exact way that I figure it out. I get a bunch of new cards in the mail and I just go through and do. You know, might have to make some changes after playtesting, but there you have it. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you guys next time.